Hi, welcome to the Feel Better Show. I'm Cedar Gray. This is episode 9, and today we're going to hear from my friend Javonnie. She's going to share about how CBD helped her son with schizophrenia.
I grew up with a mom who did drugs. So off and on through my childhood, from 13 till, she was murdered in 1992. I had this idea about drugs and alcohol, and weed was included in that. That just wasn't something I wanted to do, because in my mind I saw how it affected my mom, and that was just something I had made the conscious decision not to do, and have never done. Have never had a drink, never smoked a cigarette, never had drugs. And so I lived my life and tried to teach my kids that as well. Like, stay away from drugs, don't drink, don't do any of that. And so I just had these kind of really base ideas about weed. Weed was a drug. That's how I grew up. And so 5 years ago, my third son was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And let me just say, it's really hard for a parent or anyone to hear that, because you're like, what did I do? What didn't I do? What could I have done? And so I really wanted to make sure I put as much effort into what I could do to help my son as possible. You get in these circles, you start having these conversations with other family members or, loved ones that have folks with this mental health issue. And CBD came up a lot. When I would think about CBD, I would think, okay, that's weed. There's no way I'm going to give my son with schizophrenia weed. I started doing research on it and just, looking at different articles and talking to different people and just really trying to get an understanding of what it is. Because again, in my mind, it's going to get you high, and my son does not need to be high. So after doing the research for about a year, because again, I'm not just you said it worked, so I'm going to use it. Like, this is my son. I have to be careful and be really mindful of what I'm doing and what I'm suggesting for him. So I did the research, learned what THC was, and so I was like, okay, this might be something we can try. I didn't know what I was expecting or what I was looking to happen. I just wanted to try whatever I could to help my son. So we tried a bunch of different products, and from capsules to oils to tinctures to all kinds of things. And then I tried the Siskiyou brand, and that was because it was recommended by the folks at the cannabis store dispensary to try it. So some of the evidence for me that it was working compared to some of the other things and the other brands that we tried was I noticed that he was pacing less. I noticed that he was giggling to himself less. When someone is diagnosed with a mental health condition, and for me, especially schizophrenia, it affects everybody. So when he's calm and he's relaxed, we're all calm and relaxed, because it changes the whole dynamic of the atmosphere in here. To have someone who is 6'2" pacing through a small apartment, we all have to make adjustments. And so when I saw, and when I say I saw it, it wasn't like a little bit. It was, oh wow, Chris has not been out here pacing at all today. It was like, oh my gosh, this is really working for him. And so there was a sense of less anxiety for everybody in the house once he was able to kind of find some peace, is how I look at it. Chris got a haircut today. Very handsome. We just wanted to show you, say hi. As a parent, we want our kids to believe they can do anything, they can accomplish anything, because we believe they can. And we want to instill that in them and support them in that. One of the most heartbreaking things for me as a parent was to admit to myself that I didn't believe that for my son anymore. And so it really kind of drove me to do whatever I could to make his quality of life the best it could be for him. And it may be different than what I would expect or I would want for him, but whatever that looks like for him, I was going to do whatever I could, even to the point of putting aside my ideas about, cannabis. Without that cannabis product, the RSO CBD oil, I really don't believe that he would be where he's at right now. Now, he has other things in place that help with that, but I see the difference when he's not taking it versus when he is. And so this has been a lifesaver, because schizophrenia is a life snatcher. And this RSO CBD oil has been a lifesaver for him.
Javonnie's story is just one of many, and there's plenty of scientific research to back it up. Here is a double-blind, randomized clinical study from 2012, which clearly shows that CBD is just as effective as the most common pharmaceutical medication at relieving the symptoms of schizophrenia, and with far fewer side effects. As the parent of a disabled child, I know firsthand the suffering that can be caused by the side effects of pharmaceutical medication. It's frustrating to consider how much suffering could have been relieved if the medical community embraced the proven efficacy of cannabis. There are over 42,000 studies published on PubMed.gov about cannabis. We're going to cite a few of those related to schizophrenia in the episode description. Please do your research. PubMed.gov is an excellent resource. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Feel Better Show. Please subscribe and leave any questions in the comment section. New episodes come out every 2 weeks. We'll see you next time.